Hi everyone! Thank you so much for attending our Alumni Speaker Series for Duquesne University's College of Liberal Arts. I am Hali Evans, the Director of Undergraduate Recruitment for the College of Liberal Arts, and I'm so excited to welcome you to this event. The majors within our media department are some of the most popular here in the College of Liberal Arts, and I'm really excited about the guest speaker, Sydney Bauer, we have for this event. So just some housekeeping items. I also am accompanied by Alyssa Bigsby, who is an assistant director in our admissions office, and she is available in the chat to answer any questions you may have about the event. I do have Don Ma here behind the scenes as well. He is our director for the Center for Emerging and Innovative Media, which is the center that we are shooting this broadcast from today. If you have any questions for our guest speaker, drop them in the chat and I'll share them during the Q&A session at the end. So now I'd like to introduce Sydney Bauer, who is a 2018 Duquesne Liberal Arts grad with a major in digital media arts. During her time at Duquesne, she was a part of Duquesne Student Television, the Duquesne Duke Student Newspaper, Duquesne Advertising Club, and the Duquesne Student Radio. Pretty sure you've done everything. After graduating with her bachelor's, Sydney went on to work as a production assistant and then a video producer for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So thank you for being here. Really excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. No, I'm really excited. And thanks for all the students who are joining us today. So just to give you a brief introduction to who I am. So I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, so I grew up in the South Hills. So I always grew up a big sports fan, and I grew up with 2 older brothers and 1 younger brother. So, we're always roughhousing and, grew up playing sports. So it was kind of in my nature, and just grew up a big Pittsburgh sports fan. So that was kind of where my love for sports started from a young age. And so did my love for, the arts and creative field. So I'd say back in high school is probably when I first started to get more interested in the communications field. So, just creating videos. I was really interested in art. I was interested in interior design, graphic design. I didn't know necessarily where I wanted to, take that, but I knew, the creative field was what I really had a passion for. So I came to Duquesne in 2014. I met with a professor here named Dr. Gibbs, who kind of really sold me on, this field of emerging media, video production, graphic design, web design. You can get your hands in all of those different fields and then pick a concentration to, which way you want to take it and which way you want to specialize. So like I said, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in the creative field, but he definitely sold me on, this is the way things are going. Everyone needs videos now. Everyone needs, content to market themselves or their brands. So that's kind of what sold me into Duquesne. It was, in the city of Pittsburgh, which is what I love. And also there's so many opportunities surrounding Duquesne. You have Heinz Field, that's a short trip away. You have PPG Paints Arena right down the street, PNC Park also on the North Shore. So not only that, but even Oakland, if you do stuff with Pitt Athletics, there's many colleges and sports teams. There's also the soccer field over in Southside. So there's a lot of opportunities where I could kind of, get my hands on and get experiences. And being in the city really helped that as well. So my time here during Duquesne, I tried to get my hands in everything, to be honest. I just wanted to be involved in whatever way I could. So they do an event here that's kind of an open house. And I remember going to that, and you'd meet with all the people who were in, the Duquesne Duke newspaper, people in Duquesne Student Radio, Duquesne Student Television, and, advertising club, etc. And so you could sign up and that was your way in, and you'd start receiving emails, and that's what I did. So I was interested in it all, and I just kind of wanted to see what everything was about and then go from there. And so, that's what I did. I got a lot of experience in those, those clubs and organizations. And now some of the work I did going back are like portfolio pieces that led me to, where I am now. So during college, I did a couple of internships. So my sophomore year summer, I worked with a company called upgroove.com. It was a startup. It was kind of like a Pittsburgh BuzzFeed website. So we were covering news, basically Pittsburgh-centric, anything obscure that was trending. So I got to kind of go around and cover what was going on in the city, both videos, I was writing stories, and that first summer I interned there, my sophomore year, what I learned from it was I was doing a lot more writing than I was video, which I enjoyed that experience, but I kind of learned from it, I wanted to focus more on the video side. And so that's what I did. They asked me to come back the following summer, which was my junior year. And I was like, yeah, I would love to. Like, my experience was great, but I also kind of wanted to focus more on video. And just by me telling them that, they were like, yeah, we could totally kind of cater this role to what you're interested in. We want you to get the best experience out of this opportunity. So I came back, and then I actually ended up interning there a second summer. And that was actually the year the Penguins were in their, when they were on their cup run, their back-to-back cup run in 2017. So I wasn't with the team at the time, but there was a lot of buzz around the city. So I was going down, like I said, Duquesne University is right up the street. So I would literally go down. They would have big screens outside to watch, the playoff game. So I would go down and just interview people around the arena and just create videos that would kind of hype up the anticipation before the games. And that's what I did. And I got a lot of experience just by doing that and going out on my own and covering these stories. So yeah, I interned there, and then I did a lot of work in my undergrad as well in Duquesne athletics. So right down the street is now it's UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. It used to be the Palumbo Center, but they changed it and renovated everything recently. So there were so many opportunities there that people don't even know about. So just in my undergrad, I went over and they needed camera operators to run the live streams of events. So, I just told them I was interested. So next thing you know, I was working basketball games, football games, soccer games, and yeah, I got so much experience out of that. So then I ended up doing an internship with Duquesne Athletics as well, my senior year fall semester. So I got a ton of hands-on work doing behind-the-scenes videos of teams, just little hype-up videos, running live streams, a little bit of everything, but all these different experiences and opportunities that I kind of jumped on while I was at Duquesne gave me so many portfolio pieces. And also, more importantly, I've learned so many things about what I do now in video producing. I look back at, pieces of work I did a couple years ago, and at the time, I thought was great, but now, looking at it now, I'm like, oh, I probably would have changed the way I did this, or I would have mic'd up the person differently. So I've learned, good or bad, whatever it was, I always came out with, learning something from what, that piece I produced. So all of it was valuable. And so then my senior year in my spring semester, I applied for an internship down the street, which, the Penguins do a phenomenal job with giving students an opportunity to kind of get their hands on, different areas with the organization. So there was a production internship, and, with my past experience and kind of getting involved as much as I could, like Duquesne Student Television, I ended up becoming a general manager after getting involved since freshman year. I kind of made my way up and just really did as much as I could. And so I ended up being the general manager, and just everything I learned in that helped me along the way. So just that, all those experiences and everything I did in, clubs and organizations, I had portfolio pieces to work with, and, a lot of things that, made me more qualified for this position. So like I said, there was a production internship. I applied, and my experience with upgroove.com, like I said, a lot of my portfolio pieces were around the Penguins when they were getting that 2017 Cup. So I had work to show for it, and it probably helped also that it was Penguins content. So and also during that internship at upgroove.com, I was just 18 years old, and throughout that entire playoff run, I just wanted to keep interviewing people, and I just went out and did it on my own. So the time that they went to the Stanley Cup, I actually my company sent me to Nashville, and I got to go cover the Stanley Cup when the Penguins won. So that was probably one of the coolest experiences ever, and got to come back and cover it when they were at the Stanley Cup parade downtown. So going to Nashville was probably one of the coolest things, and seeing them win and, cover the team, and just the atmosphere in Nashville. So post-graduation, right out of college, I got a position with Duquesne Athletics full-time. So I was assistant director of creative media and production. So, getting involved with Duquesne Athletics while I was here during college and working all those sporting events, they ended up opening up a position really as soon as I graduated. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I've worked here for a few years just as an undergrad, just helping out on games. So I applied for that position, and I ended up working there nearly 3 years. So I was here full time, and then, like I said, I was interning with the Pens my senior year of college. After I graduated, they reached out to me and said, hey, we have some part-time work available if you're interested. And while I was working with Duquesne Athletics full-time, it helped that I was, right across the street, and made it easy because I was, at Duquesne during the day, working my day-to-day job, and then over at game nights, I would just walk across the street and, work game nights over there. So really, I think it helped that I kind of was just willing to learn, and I wanted to, get as much as I could out of every experience. And so here's just a little collage of some of the stuff I've did at Duquesne Athletics, and a mix of stuff I did at my internship. So that center picture of Crosby I took when I was interning at Upgroove. And also the top left corner is Coach K, who recently retired, but also the NCAA tournament was held at PPG Paints Arena, and just being, like I said, right up the street, they asked me because I worked at Duquesne, and Duquesne actually hosted the NCAA tournament. They're like, would you want to take photos for this? I was like, sure. So then went down. So just really, like I said, Duquesne really does give you so many opportunities, and you have to be willing to jump on those opportunities, though. Like they'll come to you if you go after them, if that makes sense. So, you can't just sit around and wait for someone to ask you. You have to kind of go out and get the experience you want, and just get your hands on everything, and good or bad, internships, volunteer work. It will teach you a lesson whether this is what you want to do or what you don't want to do. So they're all valuable lessons. So in April 2021, the Penguins opened up a full-time position. So I was at Duquesne before, and then so once this position opened up, I applied, and so now I'm a video producer with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So my, a day in the life for me, really the responsibilities change day to day. So it depends whether it's a game day, an off day, whether the team's on the road, whether they're in town. So just to give a general idea, like the main goal of my job is really to build the Pittsburgh Penguins brand and the fan experience. So some of the different pieces of work that I currently do, you'll see for game entertainment. So if you're going to a Pittsburgh Penguins game, the stuff on the video board, that's work we produce. You'll see our work on social media. So that includes really anything from, we do bold penguin challenges with the players, any community initiatives like them, season ticket delivery, turkey delivery, UPMC hospital visits, travel coverage. So we have, there's a small group of us that travel different games. So there's probably like 5 of us that trade up on trips. So we divide and conquer those. So just covering the team and behind the scenes, the locker room, just really telling their stories and, any video features. So we do this day in history, really player profiles, just things to let the fans know, not only the players on the ice, but off the ice as well. And then we also do work that you'll see on TV as well. So we produce 2 in-house shows. One of them is called In the Room. So, we cover the team in the locker room on, when they're away, out of town, any big events. We mic up players during games. So really all that behind the scenes content that, fans don't necessarily see from their seats. So we produce that, and then we also do a show called Pens Pulse, which is really more focused on the team around the team. So we'll do, a day in the life of, the equipment managers, or, we'll do player spotlights as well, but really focused on some of the things happening around the team as well. We do commercial spots, so that includes anything from, highlight videos, promos for upcoming games, Pens gear, our store, any season ticket packages, we'll do those. And then also we'll do locker room interviews. So any of the locker room interviews you see on TV or press conferences, we cover those as well. So it changes day to day, whether the team's in town, like I said, if it's a game day, whether they're around and we're, shooting interviews with them. It changes. So it kind of keeps you on your toes, but that's what I like about it. And because I'm usually behind the camera and editing, and I'll give you more of an insight to what we do and some of the content you'll see that we produce in this video.
Pittsburgh, it's my second hometown, I here 16 years, it's amazing. I love this city, I love these fans so much.
Spectacular! One of the greatest players in NHL history, Evgeny Malkin. What a show here by Sidney Crosby. Oh, slap me silly, Sidney. Sidney Crosby, absolutely off the charts.
It changed everything for the franchise.
Absolute masterpiece moments from number 87.
Here comes Sidney Crosby, surrounded by Canadians. Shoots the puck and scores! Oh, what a play by Crosby. He beat everybody that time. Boy, he is Mr. Highlight.
I was made for this, to be a legend, to be glorious, refined by fire, You'll soon be seeing sparks of gold, sparks of gold. Got the green light, no more red lights. Got the green light.
This is the moment we've been waiting for. And while momentous by nature, this just feels bigger.
I think simplicity is the name of the game. Let's put pucks at the net. Let's go to the blue paint. Let's keep our shifts short so we can keep some energy up here. Let's go get it done. Come on.
All right, in net, we got Jason Veritek Jari. Oh! On the back end, we got Teddy Ballgame Ruda. Oh! We got Jastrzemski Petey. Oh! Up front, Nomar Garcia Power Rusty. Oh! Dustin Pedroia Skensel. Oh! In center, we got Big Poppy Crosby. Oh! Big Poppy.
Your dad played hockey. What other sports were played in your family?
We basically played all the sports growing up. My mom was playing volleyball at the university that she went at. My dad played, we played golf, we played tennis, we played basketball, baseball. My dad was really into it too. Soccer was a big part of our childhood as well. So they basically played everything.
Hey Penguins fans! PensGear.com is the official retailer of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And that's a wrap. Super Bowl champ a couple times, football guy, big personality, Steelers nation. And then I see you like on the Jumbotron, like
Pens fans, bearded and not. It is time to get loud. Let them hear you. 3, 2, 1. Ah!
Tonight, the Penguins go against Philadelphia, but that's not the big story. The big story is the return of center iceman Mario Lemieux to the Penguin lineup.
You want it in the back seat? Okay. We'll put it right back here for you.
Now my granddaughter's gonna be jealous.
Why is that?
You were here. I'll just turkey shotgun with you? Yes, protect the bird or what?
You see how excited people are, and you know how much it means for people to be here and for all of us to come together and give out some food. It's special for us, and we just hope they have a happy Thanksgiving and get to enjoy it with their family and friends.
Hi guys, it's Theo Joseph. We're here on Amory, and we're here for a good cause, for a good time with them, and let's get a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite player in the team? Hey, that's a good answer.
You guys have been so great about it and how you go about it. You've always reflected the teams in a positive light, and it's been really good for the league, I think.
All right, hi everyone. This is Hali Evans again. I know that you were having some technical audio issues. Those should have been resolved, but we're back here with Sydney Bauer to talk a little bit more about her experience.
Yes, so that was kind of an insight to some of the stuff that you may seen, but if not, there you go. So some of the courses that I took at Duquesne University to get into my whole experience here that really taught me really the values and lessons and just really helped me get the experience I needed to produce those types of pieces were actually I started out in new media production. So like I said, I didn't necessarily know what I'd say like what concentration in media I wanted to do, so it kind of left it open-ended. So I got my hands in web design, graphic design, video production, interactive design, so user face, so like anything you see on a phone, the way that works. So it really gets your hands on everything. So, new media production was a course. I don't have it listed on the slide, but that was definitely big in, getting my hands in a bunch of Adobe programs, just really letting me know, like, learning the basics of each program that really helped me and that I still use to this day. one of my favorite courses was multi-platform editing, and that's actually I had that with an adjunct professor here. His name was Steve Mellon, and he's actually a journalist over at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, but he comes over and teaches some classes. And what I really enjoyed about that course, it was pretty much very open-ended. So we could do a video on any specific topic, and he would just say, here's like 3 bullet points of what you should include, but just go out and do it, and come back the next week, just reach out. And it was all on you to go out and make these connections with people in the real world, and sit down and have conversations with people that you would never have. And one of my favorite stories is that in that course I actually went down to a homeless shelter down the street, and no one helps you to call these people and get permission to interview them, so you have to do it, and it kind of gives you responsibility to make sure you're the one getting the story. So I went out and reached out to this homeless shelter, and that was the topic I was going to do, is just the awareness of the homelessness that's surrounding the area. And so I went down and interviewed this person, and then little did I know, I just had some conversations with them before interviewing them, because it's a sensitive topic. And so later I found out, I interviewed them, they were willing to open up to me that they were abused in multiple ways and share their whole story with me. And what was so amazing to me, what I learned from that, that entire project, was that, little things like having conversations with people go a long way, especially when you're, trying to tell their story and shed light on, everyone has their own story, and you're the one who's able to tell it. So that's one of my favorite things about this course. And I've so many pieces of, work I've done, I used for, portfolio pieces down the road that helped me land, internships, jobs, etc. Another course I did was photography. I actually did 1 and 2. They have a couple photography courses here, and that was with Jim Voda, who was also my mentor. He now serves as the department chair in liberal arts in College Hall. So he taught a couple courses that really, photography and videography go hand in hand. So that picture of the city that I have in the presentation, I took that in his class, and that was kind of structured the same way. It was, you would go out on your own, take a bunch of photos, come back, and it was more of a lab session. So it wasn't lecture based. It was like, bring back your pieces. He'll go around and teach you the programs to edit in, but everyone has their own creative style. And that was another thing I really enjoyed about this class, is that no one's piece of work looks the same. Everyone has their own vision, and that really came out in that class. And the lessons I learned how to use a camera in that class, and everything from shutter speed to aperture, which some people may not know in this stage, but like just the ins and outs of a camera. And it really helped me, and it continues to help me in this day. And without that course, I don't know if I would be able to do some of the stuff I do now. So graphic design and layout, that was another class that I learned a lot of Adobe programs in, Photoshop, Illustrator to help me make graphics. So everything kind of goes hand in hand. The more resourceful you make yourself, and the more skills you learn, makes you more valuable as a candidate. And it goes a long way. A university success course that I took with Mike Clark, who's also a news anchor over at WTAE. And if you look in the bottom right picture of the presentation, I actually shadowed there back, and I met Mike back in my freshman year of college. And you know, he does more on-air stuff, and I'm typically behind the camera. I'm either shooting or editing. You know, I didn't necessarily want to be, you know, at a news desk, you know, saying what's happening, but I wanted to be behind the scenes and kind of get that experience. So I asked Mike one day in class, I was like, hey, do you mind if I like have, you know, if I come and job shadow you? Maybe not even necessarily what he does, but like the crew and everything that goes into like the broadcast of news. And he was so helpful and so willing, and he said absolutely. He let me know any day I want to come shadow. So I came and shadowed, and that's me at WTAE's studio there. So that was a really cool opportunity. And in that class, he really made me, our projects were to, you know, make a resume, think of an elevator pitch, which is basically your, you know, a 30-second spiel. If you run into someone in an elevator, what would you tell them if you're trying to, you know, land a job? It really gave you experience and made you think about how you present yourself, and I learned a lot in that course. And then some of the different clubs and organizations I mentioned earlier, in Duquesne Student Television, Duquesne Advertising Club, etc., Duquesne Student Radio. Some of the people that really helped me was Jim Voda, who I said was also my mentor here at Duquesne, so he helped schedule my courses. And I was a digital media arts major. I minored in multi-platform journalism, and I think they go hand in hand, because multi-platform journalism, you're trying to tell a story, and you're writing scripts for, you know, video, and everything you're doing, it's kind of a narrative piece. So I thought those kind of went hand in hand, and he helped me visualize and see that, and really helped me in in all aspects. Bob Healy, who helped me in Duquesne Student Television a lot, producing a lot of shows. And Don Ma, who's behind the scenes right now, producing this, who turned, you know, this studio was not here when the time I was a college student. So like seeing it now is incredible, and I wish I had like these resources. I mean, it's night and day, and, you know, I made every opportunity I could with what was there, but just looking at the studio now, there's so much you can do, and, you know, the pieces of work and the experience you can get hands-on here is just incredible. And Don's helped me in so many shoots that we've did in the studio, and he's a huge audio guy, taught me so much in not only video and audio. But yeah, so here's a little piece I did during my undergrad for that multi-platform editing class, and this was, you know, a piece I did as an undergrad, and I learned a lot in it. Like I said, some of the videos I do back in undergrad, I now look at it, I'm like, oh, I would have changed this and did that, but, you know, those projects really make you learn and get something out of it. Now it helped me in terms of like miking and lighting and everything. So yeah, I'll play that piece.
My name is Deanna DeCessor. I'm 21 at Duquesne University, and my hobbies include working out, playing with my wiener dog, kind of just staying active. My parents didn't know before I was born anything about my arm, thought I was completely healthy. So whenever my mom had me, they realized she's missing her right arm, and all the doctors like flipped out. They figured out that it's called amniotic band syndrome. And it's when fibers actually attach to any part of the body. It could have been my toes, it could have been my fingers, but it went after my elbow. Now there's ways that you can catch it when the baby's developing, but my parents realized like how independent I was and outgoing. So I played every sport that I wanted. I was the first one in kindergarten that knew how to tie my shoes. It was just little things that I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to be known as or known for my arm, so I would rather use it as motivation for other people rather than like a setback or a disability or anything like that.
Get ready to pick it up. 3, 2, 1, pick it up.
I've had friends that when they're first starting to come around me, kind of doubting me and wanting to help me with more things. It's frustrating for me because it's like, guys, I was born like this. I've adapted. I do things a little bit different, but I can do anything you can. Now I hope I can impact people in the fitness world just because it's something I enjoy and it's not something I do outside of my normal routine. So teaching spin classes and teaching group fitness classes, I think that already just gives someone motivation to be there and want to work hard, and because they, you know, maybe have both hands, both legs, and there's nothing wrong with them. They just struggle with the motivation, and I hope to have someone feel motivated just by taking my class or, you know, being around me rather than not wanting to do it or feel the need to have an excuse.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sydney. It's been so nice seeing all of the videos that you've created and to see your progress through undergrad into your professional life. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A. So I did have one question for you that you partially answered for me before this, but but you said your minor was in multi-platform journalism.
Yes, correct.
So all liberal arts majors are required to at least pick up a minor. They can also choose to double major and minor. There's a million combinations. But what was it within multi-platform journalism that made you think, oh, this is a good combination with the digital media arts?
Honestly, I would say Jim Voda helped me a lot in seeing that and realizing, you know, a lot, like my concentration, I started to focus more on video production. So, like I said, a lot of things when you're building out a piece, like a video piece, you kind of have a script in terms of, you know, what you're asking someone, what you want them to say, the big outline, the bigger picture of the story you're telling of someone's, you know, life that, you know, no one knows. So I think journalism really helps in terms of, you know, writing narrative pieces. So if you want someone, like some of the pieces included in that, the Penguins, you know, big montage compilation video were like playoff narrative videos that, you know, you're writing scripts for and putting footage together. So really, I think writing went hand in hand with it, and honestly, that's probably what made me
That's awesome.
pick that route.
Yeah, really cool combination. I love seeing what the liberal arts students come up with in terms of major and minor because, you know, sometimes they are within the same department like that, like figuring out the combination within media that works best for them. Others choose to divert a little bit and maybe do like media and philosophy or media and psychology or something like that, being able to combine those interdisciplinary skills together. I do also want to add that this question and answer session is open in the chat as well. You can also ask questions of those beyond Sydney. So we do also have Alyssa Bigsby here from the admissions office. So if you have any questions for her, you can certainly drop that in the chat and I will read it out loud. We even have Dawn here, like I had mentioned, who works in the studio. So if you have any specific questions about the studio or anything related to that, you can also share that in the chat. I will add too that this is one of 3 studios that we have here in the College of Liberal Arts. This is our newest, as Sydney had mentioned. Its grand opening was about a year ago, but we do also have an additional TV station as well as a radio station located in College Hall, which is the Liberal Arts building. This one's nice because it's in the Duquesne Student Union. The best part about these is that they're open regardless of major, so you can, you know, always feel free to create content within these resources. But another question that I had for you was, what would you say your favorite memory was at Duquesne? So not necessarily just within liberal arts, but as a student, yes, you were in liberal arts, but you were also a student on this campus. So
yes. Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, honestly, this isn't even related really to the position I'm in now. It's more so the variety of people I've met. So like I became a lot of friends with international students, so I became like best friends with someone from Germany, and a lot of people on my floor were from all places of the world. So one of my best friends is from Thailand, so she got married last year, so we went to Thailand to go, she had her wedding there and had people from college and here go join her. One of my roommates was Polish, so she got married as well a couple years ago. So me and a bunch of my friends from here got to go to Poland and really do a big Euro trip over there. So, that's not necessarily on this campus, but just the variety of people you'll meet here, all walks of life. Some played sports, some were involved, in music, so just really how many different people can come together and you become so close with them, and just those memories shared, I'd say.
Yeah, it is awesome, the connections that are made here at Duquesne. I am also a Duquesne grad myself, and I really enjoyed how, even though I had a specific major, I had a lot of friends outside of my major that taught me lessons that I could use within my program and within my life after graduation. So that is a really awesome connection that you made with those.
Oh,
those
for
people.
sure.
Yeah, awesome. So, do we have any other questions in the chat? If you have any other questions for Sydney, we can certainly talk through them now. We also, if you think of something after this broadcast is over, you all have my contact information. I was the one that sent all of the invites out for this event. So feel free to send any follow-up questions, feedback, any ways that we could help you start your Duquesne experience. We are happy to help. Also, if you have any direct questions for Sydney after this broadcast is done, feel free to send them my way. I can reach out to her, and we can get you in contact with her.
Yeah, no, I appreciate, you guys having me and all the work that's gone into this. And like I said, just seeing the way this place even I graduated in 2018 and it's 2023, and just this studio and having the resources that there are now, it's truly incredible. So I appreciate everyone who joined today, and like she mentioned, please feel free to reach out to her if you have any further questions. If you don't think of any now, open door, networking goes a long way, and I've learned that throughout my career and the people I've met, and I would love to, help in any way I can, answer any questions, and I appreciate you guys really joining me today and having me.
Awesome. So if there are no more questions, I will let you all go. Thank you for allowing us to take up some time this evening to go through, some information about one of our departments here at Duquesne. We definitely encourage you to visit campus if you have not already. We'll have all sorts of events coming up this summer through this fall. So please get in contact with us. Please reach out if you have any questions. But thank you so much for your time tonight, and have a nice night.